Welcome back to another episode of Raul's World of Synths. I am Raul. Today we're going to be taking a look a little bit further with the Doepfer A102 Diode Filter up here at the top. We're going to be kind of going through a few steps to hear how it reacts to modulation. If you were with us in the previous demonstration, we did some basic filterings with this just to hear what a synth line would sound like, kind of going through this. Just the cutoff a little bit, and then played around with some of the resonance, sort of variety of resonance settings that you can get with this filter. But this time I thought we would go a little bit with modulation and maybe combine some of that together. So let's go ahead and start getting that patch together. If you remember last time you were with us, if you look at the bottom down here, we have some notes that are being output from our A155 sequencer over here via these two yellow cables going out into the switch over here, and then those are being output from here over into this quantizer all the way down. See if I can get my finger to it, down here, and then they're going up from there, and they're actually being multiplied right here at this multiple. So I have one copy via the red cable right here, and then another copy at the gray cable. So we're going to use these to kind of feed up above our VCO and our diode filter. So let's go ahead and get that patch set up. So I'm going to take one of these cables and go into my VCO, CV1. There we go. Pretty straightforward. Now we're sending notes up there. And then I'm going to take the second one, and I'm just going to go up into my diode filter at the cutoff right there. And we're not hearing sound yet because we haven't patched it in yet. I'm going to take my saw wave right here and just go straight in, audio input. Now I'm going to take audio out over here and just go out to my mixer. You should hear a little bit of something. So if you were with us last time, that should sound a little bit familiar. Bring down resonance a little bit. Okay, and that's going to be our starting point for this patch. For our modulation source, if you'll follow me into the middle section, I have, let's see, an LFO set up right there. It's a quad LFO. So I'm going to take a waveform out of there, and we're going to use it to kind of modulate via one of our CV inputs up at the top. So let's go ahead and start with the triangle wave. It's a pretty standard type sound for a nice little build. So I have it in the low frequency setting here at the top. That's going to allow me to modulate. So I'm going up to my diode filter, and I'm going to go into CV number 2, but let me turn that all the way down. Let me patch it in there. There we go. Now I'm going to bring it up ever so slightly. So we have some modulation going on. And if you look down at the bottom and you follow this LED here, you can kind of see where it reaches its high point and then it descends back down to the low point. Okay, now let me bring up the CV input there. That's kind of creating a nice little build there, bringing the cutoff up. Giving us quite a bit of variety there. Let's try a different cutoff setting, so I'm going to bring this up a little. Fairly interesting sounds coming out of there. Let's try a higher resonance setting. Right about there. Okay, and that's kind of a slow LFO setting that we're using right there. So let's try something a little bit faster. I'm going to bring this up a little. Now, it's not exactly gelling with the tempo there, so I could try and get something that works with it. So it's a fairly good sound. It's fun. Okay, so we got the triangle wave going. I'm going to unpatch that, and I'm going to actually go over to my A147 over here. So I have that kind of set up here to the right. And let's just try a standard sine wave. So I'm going to patch the sine wave out. This should give us a slightly different modulation flavor. It's a little bit smoother. Now, if I wanted to kind of switch things up a little bit, I could. Like, for example, my pitches right now are going to the primary CV input, but if I wanted to kind of switch things up a little, I could unpatch that, take my LFO signal down here, go up into the primary right there. This is going to sound a little erratic, I think. Well, not too bad. Although it is kind of descending in. Okay, so now let's take our pitches again via this cable. And we go into CV input 2. And we're kind of reversing the modulation here. Let me try a different frequency setting here, maybe a little higher. So I kind of like the first way better, but I guess there's merit to each one. And as we said in the basics video, per the Doepfer convention, what's actually happening here is the output from our A147 is going into this CV input here, and then that second CV that we're receiving here is being summed with that, and then they're going to the cutoff there. That's kind of creating those nice little chirpy sounds. Now, if I wanted to really adjust the subtlety of that, I could feed it into CV3 here. And then I have another kind of palette to work with there. Because now I have control over how much of that modulation signal is going into the cutoff there and then being summed with the pitches that are coming from the bottom area down there. Okay, so we tried a triangle wave and we tried a saw wave. Oh, sorry, we tried a sine wave, triangle, and we tried sine. Okay, let's try a saw wave, just for a little variety. And then this will be the last one. That should be just kind of a quick descent. Maybe a little too quick. Let's try that a little more subtle there. Bring that down a little. And just watch the light here to get kind of an indication of where we are on the peak. So there we should be at the highest point. Let me try a different cutoff setting. Let's try right about there. Watch the modulation signal. There we're at the bottom. Should be coming back up here in a second. Okay. Now, saw wave may not have been the greatest choice there because it has that little click when it happens there, but there's lots of different waveforms you can choose from, and of course, as we saw before, you can also combine your CVs and sum them there, and then adjust however you see fit with your attenuators here. For the most part, that's the simple demonstration that I wanted to do for modulation with the A102 Diode Low-Pass Filter. We've covered a lot of ground so far. In the next video segment of this series, I think we'll be wrapping up the series as a whole. I'm not sure how much time it's going to occupy because it's a little bit going to be involved. I'm going to actually bring in some of my other filters to kind of compare side by side with the A102. Some of the filters you may have seen before in some of the videos I've done, such as I'm feeling like I want to bring back the WAS filter, maybe the multi-mode, the A121, I think A120 regular low-pass filter, and then maybe even the A106 extreme filter as well. But we'll see how many of those we can kind of logistically kind of put together in our setup here, and we'll kind of compare, contrast kind of different filters and hear how those sound. So hopefully that'll be useful to you when it comes up in the future, and hopefully this one was useful for you as well. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on patching out there.